Today I'm going to give a brief overview on eggnog, but before I do, I have a quick question for you. Is eggnog spelled with one word or two? Well, that's sort of a trick question because technically it's spelled as one word, but is often seen as two words on the retail cartons, so really both are correct. Regardless of the spelling, what actually is eggnog, you may ask? Well, eggnog is a rich dairy-based beverage with roots that can be traced back to the 13th century in Britain and is thought to be first introduced to North America sometime in the 1700s. Today it's a beverage that is traditionally enjoyed during the holidays, and for many families, the holidays aren't quite the same without enjoying a glass of this festive drink together. But digging even deeper, eggnog is a drink that is regulated and by law must have a minimum of 6% butterfat, also known as cream, which helps give it its characteristic richness, and must also contain a minimum of 1% egg yolks by weight in the finished drink. Despite these basic building blocks, eggnog drinks can vary greatly from one another, ranging from being sweet with a slight spice note to being less sweet with more pronounced spice notes combined with some alcohol overtones, typically consisting of either rum or whiskey, and every combination in between. Just as the flavor varies, so can the color, ranging from pale yellow with a slight orange hue to bright yellow depending on the amount of color and type used, which typically consists of turmeric or annatto, or commonly a combination of both. Incidentally, this thickness or viscosity is attributed to the amount of stabilizer used, which normally consists of carrageenan, which provides the mouthfeel, and guar gum, which delivers the thickness or body that coats the tongue. With all these variations, it's advisable to shop around until you find an eggnog that suits your taste and personal preference for attributes such as sweetness, spice notes, and thickness, because not all eggnogs are made the same. Wait, did I just say not all eggnogs are made the same? Well, let me correct myself, because all commercial eggnogs are made using the same general process, but each dairy follows their own time-proven recipes, which has their own inherent differences in sweetness, thickness, and even butterfat levels, ranging from low-calorie eggnog containing 2% butterfat, referred to as light eggnog, to premium eggnog containing 9% butterfat or higher. Regardless of the specific formula used, the general process starts by a dairy adding all the liquid ingredients such as milk, cream, and any other liquid ingredients their particular formula calls for in a 100-gallon or larger mix tank. As these liquid ingredients are mixing, other dry ingredients such as granulate sugar, whey, skim milk powder, stabilizer are added, and the mixture is mixed until smooth. Next, the eggnog base, which I'll go into more specifics about in a minute, is added at the recommended usage level to ensure the egg yolk requirement is met. Once this mixture is smooth, it then goes through a heat-treated pasteurization process that not only kills any unwanted bacteria for the safety of our health and to prolong the shelf life of the finished eggnog against spoilage, but this heat step is critical in activating the stabilizer, the carrageenan and guar gum I mentioned earlier, which then gives the finished drink its final texture and thickness. The finished eggnog is then refrigerated, packaged in cartons, and eventually shipped to your local retailer where you can buy it and enjoy. But before I end, as promised, here's a little more detail about the eggnog base itself. A typical eggnog base consists of a sweetener, normally corn syrup and/or sugar, egg yolks, color, typically turmeric and/or annatto, as I mentioned earlier, and flavor that normally includes spices such as nutmeg, cinnamon, and/or ginger. The unique flavor and color combination formulated in each base makes its own distinct colored and flavored finished eggnog. The important part about using the base is to be sure to follow the supplier's recommended usage to make sure the egg yolk requirement is met. Here at Denali, we specialize in developing, formulating, and carefully manufacturing liquid eggnog bases to ensure they will deliver the required amount of egg yolks for specified usage while making a delicious finished drink in the process. For eggnog manufacturers, it's also important to know the type of heat processing the eggnog base will be subjected to during the pasteurization step. Is it high temperature short time, more commonly referred to as HTST, or the more extreme ultra-high temperature processing, commonly known as UHT, which ultimately exposes the eggnog base to much higher temperatures for a short period of time, but provides a longer shelf life for the finished eggnog. Regardless of the process, eggnog bases have been developed for both types, but it's important to use the right base for the right application to get the best tasting results. So now I hope that you never look at eggnog quite the same again. I also hope that this gives you some insight on why there's so many variations of eggnog on the market. But always remember that to be called eggnog, either way you spell it, by law, it must be dairy-based, contain at least 6% butterfat and 1% egg yolks by weight in the finished drink. Cheers, everyone.